Brian, is there any way the Cowboys are going to go after Jaire, whose market value is about half of the top?
No, I woke up this morning and kind of saw the news, and I know some people were asking me about it. And I said, well, let me see if I can run down a couple of different folks. And, fortunately, some people got a hold of me and said, no, we're probably not going to do anything. But I wanted just to take a look myself and see what type of player that we were dealing with here. And then I made a couple of calls up in Green Bay, and some folks were nice enough to say, hey, listen, hey, when he plays for us, we're a good defense. When he doesn't play, we tend to be a little bit bad, but these are the things you're going to have to deal with.
So the question is, should the Cowboys be after Alexander? Because here's an opportunity to get an elite talent at under half a market value.
Yeah.
And probably half of that would be base. You're looking at $5 million base, the rest of incentives likely for Alexander.
Like I said, I think it's going to come down to I think it's going to come down to the health, and that's something that it's not that they feel great about the corner situation, right? And I shouldn't say that. I think they like the guys they have. I think they're excited about the guys they have. Would this be a guy that could definitely, go out there and be a starter? Sure, absolutely. He would be one of the better corners you have. But I just think that there's so much about the health and what you have to deal with, and I'm not even saying the off the field stuff, just some strange,
just a little unprofessional
quirks that you have to know about when you're working with this guy. And I don't know if people are willing to always do that. Now, we've said this before with Schottenheimer. They've already done this with George Pickens. To me, if you want to get the defensive version of George Pickens, here we go.
Yeah.
When you're talking about a super competitive guy, how important, but has had kind of his share of questionable conversations and things like that.
Well, let me ask you this question. If they only have so much money to spend, you want to go with a different corner, I get it, right? Just give me some help at corner. But how much would tackling well as a corner be on your radar? Like, can we afford another corner, even if he covers well, that is going to leave you that exposed?
See, that's the problem I run into is that, and I really do appreciate to have this platform to be able to talk about with, and matter of fact, there was a podcast that came out on YouTube, and it actually highlighted the conversation that we had about, I think it's called Cowboys Talk or something like that. It's on YouTube, and I'm sorry, they
clipped us here in the GBag Nation.
They clipped us, but
what an honor.
They agreed with everything that we said about it.
Dang.
And talking about it.
Well, we kind of know what we're doing. They usually clip us and rip us.
But he was, I was thinking.
I'm going to send him a strike.
Well, I was thinking that we got clipped and then it was going to be like, it's going to be a hatchet job thing. But the guy was like, no, these guys, this was a good conversation. And it pointed out the talk that we had about how the balls run on the edge and how the corners don't play and how the safety and the linebacker, that we talked so much about defensive tackle play. So I don't know. Here you have a guy who has a history of a shoulder problem, and it's about self-preservation now is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
He's missed parts of seasons, lots of games because of his shoulder. And he's probably not interested in throwing that in there and getting hurt again.
Yeah, and that's definitely the downside, and that's not ideal. But beggars cannot be choosers at this point in the offseason. Like, you have a giant hole. This is the bed that you've made for yourself. We have questions all over the secondary. So, in a perfect world, would he be a 5-tool player who's willing to go tackle and cover and play games and not be injured? You're going to have guys with flaws at this point. Does the talent outweigh the flaws? And is your need so big that you have to just go ahead and acquiesce to a player like that? Not giving him a big-time deal. You paid Trayvon Diggs. That was a huge mistake because that's the type of player that Jaire Alexander sort of is. So you don't give the big money to that guy, but in June, when you're desperate, sure, we'll go ahead and do that because we're running out Kyer Elam and we don't know what else at nickel. Yeah, it's great stuff, guys. This is GBag Nation. Did you want to hit that real quick, Wolchuk?
No, I agree. And to me, it's like, hey, if you hit on the guy, the Cowboys love their comp picks. Let him go out there and sign a big money deal with somebody else. But I'm with you. Like, at this point, these players are available for a reason. So they're going to have some type of awards. If he's healthy, it's a big upgrade for you. I'd go ahead and make that happen.
214 says he's going to be an Eagle, or he is an Eagle.
Probably.
That would hurt, but that would be consistent with what we've seen.